Hi, I'm Morag, and today I'm here with Robina McCurdy.
Hello.
From Earth Care Aotearoa.
Earth Care Education Aotearoa.
Oh, beautiful. And it's been an absolute delight over the last week or two to have Robina here. She's screened her film SOS, Save Our Seeds, one of the evenings here at Crystal Waters with the Ethos Foundation. And over the last couple of days, she's been running programs with children, both patterns in nature and also design with nature, so running children through a program of permaculture design. So it's been an absolute delight to have you here. Thank you. One of the things that I'm familiar with your work is how much that you've done with seed saving and community gardens and school gardens. Can you tell me a bit about your work with that?
Yep. So I really care about future generations. I really care about the state of the planet. And for me, one of the most worthwhile investments is putting my work into schools, with transforming school grounds into these amazing edible landscapes and nature havens. And actually with the kids, within the curriculum, it is almost effortless for me when people get a taste of how to do it, and the results and the outcomes, give it a go.
Yeah.
So, it's basically having permaculture knowledge and, being mentored and things like that. But yeah,
Great.
give it a go. So, as well as that, my deepest passion of all, I'm going to cry, is getting seed banks into schools. I feel that, the way our seed systems are going, with the multinational takeover of small family seed businesses, with the disappearing of genetic diversity, and with the vulnerability of climate change and a lot of other reasons, we need to have seeds in as many hands as possible being shared, being grown out, being dealt with so that you can check the viability, true to type and all that. And children make incredible caretakers of seeds. They really treasure them. They somehow innately know about the preciousness of the seed. So in my work with schools, I try and get seed banks into every school and have children as caretakers of particular varieties of particular seed lines, and it works. And then they distribute them out to the wider community.
Right. And you've done a bit of a documentary too about your work in schools.
Yep. So in the SOS Save Our Seeds documentary, you'll see a little section on children as caretakers of seeds, but mostly you'll see the work of not just my work around New Zealand, other teachers who are trying to do outdoor education differently, of bringing nature and food gardens into school grounds, and travel the whole country and see all these different range of things. So that's on our website. You can download those documentaries.
It's such important work, I think, what you're doing, and it's so good to also that you've been able to bring that together in these films. So on your website you said that they can find access to these films. What's that website?
It's www.localizingfood, all one word, .com. And localizing food spelt with an Aussie and a Kiwi S. Localizing food, LOCALISING, food, FOOD.com.
Great, fantastic, that's excellent. Now, one final question that I wanted to ask you. Where do you see your role in permaculture, seed saving, community garden in the next 5-10 years? How do you, do you see something different, or you feel that what we're working on now is the key area? I don't know if that question's the right question.
I can enter through that question.
Right, okay.
I can enter through that question because something comes up. And again, I feel really sort of a heart welling when I think about this. I am 66, and one of my main thrusts now is to mentor particularly young people in their 20s and 30s who show a lot of promise. Got an aptitude for education, aptitude for design, and aptitude for just a natural way with children. And passing on my methods, sharing my resources, and mentoring them step by step as they come up through. So that's, and I'm doing that actively in Australia as well. So the other thing is we talk about the mainstream. It's like people who are like, right in the milieu of the permaculture life, and there's people on the edge testing the edge. Maybe they had a change in their life and they want to move in that direction. There's people who are maybe not so aware and not woken up to that yet. So I think it's really important in this next period of time that what we've learned and gained as permaculture living people moves right through into that mainstream. And in New Zealand, it's just almost normal now for councils, shires, local authorities to actually totally work with people at the community scale and bringing in these kind of programs right across their shire, put funding and back and forth. And it's the absolute hand-holding partnership, and I think, see, I'm really moved. I think this is the way to go. And I know you do this work. Actually, you're probably on the edge in terms of the leading edge of this work in your area. I know you work a lot in libraries, with councils, with schools and things like that. So we're colleagues in that way. I'm right now seeing what's the span from elderly to young people. And the first thing that comes to my mind is don't lock the old people up in old people's homes. Enable their wisdom, enable their passion, their experience to be accessible to kids. And in New Zealand, there's some really remarkable programs of elderly people coming into schools, especially in Māori schools, imparting their wisdom and that. So this intergeneration, you know, especially telling the stories how it was, so that we've got how the environment was, so we've got a role model perhaps of what we've lost, you know, those sorts of things. So that historical lineage. So that's one thing. I think the next thing is models, examples of how we can live a sustainable life. You know, your blog is so important, things like that, getting out and insight into people's lives who are taking care of their gardens, who are actually restoring wildlife habitat, who are building in an eco-friendly way that doesn't cost the hilt. And so that other people can say, wow, it's possible, and it's possible within my budget. It's possible if I seek support from my friends to do this, and we can help each other do that together. So this is it's totally off the top of my head. And so there's two things. And the third thing, again, it feels like children, is really do a deep investment in our children now, because they're our future leaders, they're our future shapers. And if they have those seeds, if they have those experiences, particularly pre-7, pre-9, you know, planted in them, that's a foundation for their life, at least as the high-tech push button, switch on, switch off, you know, electronic age just gobbles them up. They have something to rest on, to remember to come back to call back in, to reorient themselves. And the three things that at least are at the primary. There's many other down the list, but that's high on my priorities.
Thank you, Robina. You're off to Western Australia now.
I am,
soon.
Perth.
Yes. And what are you doing over there?
So at Perth, there's a Permaculture Convergence, Australasian Permaculture Convergence, and this happens every 2 years, and there's a lot of different presentations. It's sort of like particularly looking, where's permaculture heading, how can we meet the needs of these times. Those presentations are given by people. I'm one of the presenters, and I'm also running a localising food facilitators workshop and a what's called fast-tracking urban permaculture, permaculture facilitators workshop for people who work in urban areas. And this is both trainings to upskill Australians to take their work to the next level and actually, you know, sort of bring it more strongly in a faster way to work in the mainstream, I suppose you could say. And that's the three things. Good. And I'm also co-facilitating a social permaculture workshop. Another edge of that.
So you've been busy this whole time. How do you maintain your energy? You landed in Australia and just bang, you've been one event after the other event, and you're always looking so energetic. How do you do that? What is it? What's your secret?
You know, it's actually, I've thought about that, and it's been a mystery to me because it's not like I'm rolling in money, and it's not like I have a lot of rest. And so what it is, I think, it's actually the energetic feedback from the work that I do. The more I give and the more skills and tools I leave with people, the more appreciation I get, the more I see people learning and enjoying and networking, and it's an energetic feeding of me.
Do you know, I think you've touched on something really important, that it's a revaluing of what we feel is a sense of wealth and well-being and where we get our nourishment from, and that, you know, the work and the passion that you bring to it and what you share with people, and how the rewards you get back are not measured monetarily. Obviously you have enough to survive and to travel and to do the things that you want to and travel but there is a different way that you measure the feedback to you. And I think, and you can tell by the sparkle in your eyes that there's something going on that is at a, I don't know, it's a special quality that I see in a few people that I meet, that, you know, there's so much to give and there's so much that we need to change in the world, and that really it's not going to happen if we try and tell people they have to change and, you know, this is wrong and that's wrong, but it's actually by inspiring and leading and encouraging, and that it's just such a happy and delightful and an amazing thing that you're doing, that people get attracted to that, you know, and then that the positive ripple effects go out in an amazing way.
And the other part of that, which is totally akin, is my permaculture in Australia, my permaculture colleagues that also have that fire and they also have that deep commitment. So when we get together, that's again another burst. And I think the caution is, and the practice is, to also immerse in nature as much as possible as a balance and get re-energized. You know, I'm fascinated by these raucous Australian birds. I'm scared shitless by these critters that bite and snap, and I'm sort of on my edge here. Like
I forget about that. Our kids are roaming around wild barefoot. It's just
so I'm just fascinated. Like every time I've seen once a koala with a joe in its parts, it just melted my heart. And those sorts of things, wherever I am in nature, I make sure that I get a dose. And that's the other fill up.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I will put up your website again on the bottom of this so that people can find your films and find your work and be able to learn from you and hopefully maybe even go and visit you at Tui too if they're really inspired to connect somehow. So thank you so much, Robina.
Thank you very much. Okay.